So what is left to go? Wow. So we've now taken how many lightning strikes? We've had 3 lightning strikes. 2 of them have taken us off the air now in like the last 10 days or so. We are having a hell of a storm right now. I got to congratulate all the FP&L people and Spectrum Internet people. I don't know how they got it back on so quickly, but they did. So big props to them. But we are being assaulted here, and this is too early for the Dorian thing. Tropical Storm Dorian, as you know, is dominating local news in South Florida over the last couple of days. The formation of the storm and now the odds of whether or not it's going to get through the last mountain chain before you get to the United States. Do you hear it? This is, it's really extraordinary. I've said this 100 times. We used to get this at 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the time. Now we only get it like early in the day. This is shaking the building style. Wow. All right, let me grab the phone here. I think we might have Rich back. I'm looking. Is that you?
This is Rich. We got dropped off.
Dude, we got dropped off. We're having a hurricane. The building.
I know.
Are
you?
The
no
building.
Kidding, no.
No, I mean our building is shaking from the thunder. We all lost power. The whole block did, but they got us back on in 3 minutes. But it's unbelievable. We used to get this in the afternoon years ago. Years ago, you would always have this in the late afternoon in Florida, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Big thunderstorms, black skies, tons of rain, and then it goes away. It's been showing up 11, 12, 1 o'clock now. So we're back. We're live. But, man, that was a pretty big deal. For twice it happened to us now in 2 weeks.
And I was just telling you about my big, awesome 50-mile ride when I got cut off.
Yeah, so that's what I was asking. You mentioned Far Rockaway, and when I was a kid, my dad used to take us to go see Anchocha out there, and we were in the car for 2 hours. How long does it take you to get to Far Rockaway, starting out in Manhattan?
I know from door to door, Coney Island is about 2 to 2.5 hours, and then it's another hour. I'm on the beach in Rockaway on one end of the island.
That's incredible. So you
I
might
can do it in 3 hours.
I was going to say we're talking between 3 and 4 hours. You might need a break for a bottle of water. That's a hell of a thing. Now, when you finish that, are you absolutely looking to sleep over in Rockaway somewhere, or are you actually going to hang for a little bit and then do the reverse the same day?
Yeah, I'll do. It's like I said, it's about 55 miles round trip.
Yeah,
I usually jump in the ocean at Coney Island for 10 minutes.
Right.
Then I head over the Marine Park Bridge and I hang out the Rockaway. The Rockaway to me it's the best beach. People don't realize how nice that beach is.
I love
now.
Rockaway.
And,
yeah.
and since they did all the rework after Sandy, it is a gorgeous beach. I'll hang out there for a little bit and then boom, I hit the road and come back. That's it's a good day trip. But my longest run is 110 miles.
Oh.
That is from I leave my doorstep here in Queens, go over the Queensboro Bridge,
right,
and I go back to my hometown in Middletown, Connecticut, and that is 110. And I've done that. I've done that. I've done it historically. I've done it once to twice a year for the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm about to get ready to make another attempt. And,
you sound like one of these guys that one day is going to say, I'm doing coast to coast, New York to L.A., I'm doing it for charity, doing it for the... do you have an aching... Are you like the guy that wants to climb Everest eventually? You want to do whatever a bike can do? Or, describe to me what your aspirations are if you're already doing $110, 110 miles, you go to Connecticut on a bicycle. What is the great white whale to you? What's the great challenge ahead of you?
Oh, it would be first of all, I would definitely love 2 trips that are on my bucket list. One is definitely a coast to coast trip to be able to go from New York to California.
Right.
That would be awesome, right?
Yeah.
But another one is my mom was born in Canada, and as a kid we used to always go up there every year, drive,
right,
all the way up to Maine is the longest state. And I'm sitting there on Google Maps looking. I'm like, wow, I wonder if this is possible. And I map it out, and you could do it in in days. You could
Right.
do it
You
in,
got to pace it. Right.
Yeah, you pace yourself. You pace yourself. You carry only enough. One thing I learned is when you're doing long trips, weight is everything.
Right.
You don't want to carry a lot of weight. You want to travel as light as possible, and it just adds the miles onto the trip. So I would say Canada, right across the border of Maine, in a town called Fort Kent, Maine, right over the borders.
Gotcha.
A border crossing, or coast to coast.
Right, right. No, I mean, I can imagine this. You sound like ready for this stuff now. I can feel like there's some kind of momentum there. All right, so I gotta ask this one for the novices out there. They are getting excited listening to you, but they're the kind of people, if they rented a bicycle on vacation, they'd be tired 10 minutes in, they'd be right under a tree. So if you want to really start to get this kind of excitement out of bicycling, is it easy? Should they book a tutorial with you? What's the way to go from I hardly bike at all, I want to be like that guy on EdTyll show?
Well, it's funny because I ride, every year is to always ride what's called the New York Century Ride, and that goes through all 5 boroughs of New York. And you can, some people could do the 25-mile route, 50, 75, or 100. I've already done the 100. I laugh because you'll see a group of youngsters in Central Park at 4:35 in the morning when their ride's starting, and they're moving to get in the front of the line. I'm like, look, buddy, you got a long day. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Exactly.
And I'm laughing as I'm following them going, and I'm like, 50 bikes behind them. And it's funny because I'll see you guys over in Brooklyn after about 15 miles, and the real bikers are doing that last 25 miles where you're going to ride right up and down the Bronx. But if you want to take to me, some people like to ski, some people like to run. Me, I've just have a passion for biking, and always had bikes as a kid. Had a 10-speed. You remember the bikes we had as kids, right? 10 speeds.
I tell you what, I had a Denelt. I had a Denelt, I think in 1970 or something, and it was called a British racing bike. And I remember being so excited. And yeah, it's in our DNA. For me, it's in my DNA. Like when, as a kid, a bicycle was an extension of your feet. Same way you calculated how fast you could run to the store with the bike, you could get to the park. It was an extension of you. It was like a natural thing to be on a bike.
It's great. I tell you, in New York City, I could actually beat the subway.
Right.
I could actually beat the subway from Long Island City to Grand Central. I can actually beat it out. I'm over the Queensboro in about 17 minutes.
I love it.
And you know what?
Yeah.
In this day and age when everything's costing money, congestion pricing and Ubers and even subways they're getting to be almost $6 a trip, and you start doing that 2-3 times a day.
Right.
People don't realize how many people are bicycling over the bridges in New York every day. Tens of thousands of people.
Well, I'll tell you, New York has always had a healthy population. They used to always just put it on with the walking. It was just like the catch-all reason. Bicycling is an extraordinarily fun, interesting way to stay in shape. I think of you, right? You're doing mileage, you're going places. Then I think about people. You know them. They're going to be just as serious as you are. But what are they going to do? They're going to go to Planet Fitness, get on a thing, stay in a smelly room, go nowhere, and bike their asses off to watch television. It's terrible. Go and do the real thing. You don't need to simulate indoor bicycling. In my world, this is very she of them. I want the benefits of bicycling. I just don't want to go anywhere. Just get a bicycle, Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I can't let now. You see, I could spend an entire day riding, right, but I can't last 45 minutes on an indoor bicycle.
Right.
Some people can. I can't. I'm bored.
That's it. You'd be bored.
So I have a pretty good rule. You were asking about what gets me excited about a trip. Well, what I do is, I push. And by the way, since you and I saw each other, we were up on the Upper East Side. I back in 2015, 2016, I dropped in 1 year 80 pounds. I was
What?
heavy. And that,
Wow.
you haven't seen the before and after pictures.
Wow.
And that's, one of the reasons I said I got to find something to do that I'm passionate about, that I like doing. That's when I just started riding a bike. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost 5 pounds in the last week and a half. And
Dude.
I kept pushing. I went from 280 down to 200 in about 10 months.
That is so.
And I was like, whoa, there's some real good benefits here.
Tell it from the mountaintop, preacher. Tell them, because, they're all like, oh, I'm going to have to join a gym. Oh, I'm going to have to go get. Oh, you don't have to do anything. Go and get on the bicycle you already own. I don't believe you if you say there's no bicycle somewhere that you can get on today, and just get on the damn thing. It's the fun that will get you back on. You will have fun, and you'll be in great shape. All right, Rich, I'm sorry we got interrupted by the weather. I got a 1:30 guest that is patiently waiting. You are terrific. Listen, I would love to visit with you once a week. I know that's always tough scheduling, but let's make it a regular thing. I'd love to talk more about this. We get some calls. I think we can do something with you with the show. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to figure out something that we can support you, bring a little attention to you. I think you'd be a great special expert. People calling in, asking you questions about bicycles. My bike is this. I'm getting ready to go here. I just think there's a lot of possibilities, and I'm very grateful for your daytime availability for us.
Well, let's do it, because as you know, I'm coming out strong and bringing back my TV show, and so we could talk technology, bicycling, anything you want.
Look at this. That's another bonus. All right, you're full of, you've always been great to me and the show over the years. You're a terrific neighbor, and a lot of people in New York, we're an anomaly. Most people don't befriend their neighbors. They more or less just go their own way. But you and it's hard to remember when I didn't know you. It's been that way now for a while. So thank you for the friendship, staying in touch. Love having you on today. Sorry we had the interruption. That's not going to happen a lot, but you are going to happen a lot on the show. This was really nice of you. Thanks, man.
Sounds great. Well, listen, thanks for having me, and let's get back on the air soon.
You got it, brother. Rich Garboski, my former neighbor on the Upper East Side, as he mentioned. He was full of passion and energy before I even knew what he did. I always had an inkling that it was some kind of high-tech thing. He kind of, I don't know if he mentioned it or just it was incidental to when we would bump into each other. But there are just people like that. It's a rarity in Manhattan, though. Most people in Manhattan, you get your thing, you got your day planned, you got your routine. It's hard to let anybody in, and you know what I mean? You stay on point. That's great. I want to keep having him. I love Susan Monday. Maybe we can get her on to talk about bicycling. That'd be great. Rich on one side, Susan on the other. Because I'll tell you what I love and miss about her. Then I got to get to Dr. Frieda here. I really miss how adamant Susan was about a lot of different things. And she and I never had the long, deep bicycling talk. We had a couple of brief ones. But I would love to get deep with Susan and Rich at the same time. Bicycle people. I love people who are categories of people. Bicycle people, race car people. Love it. So anyway, great segment. All right, let's get Dr. Frieda. Let's see. Get the old Los Anteojos. Do you know what that is? You speak Spanish? Los Anteojos. Put on my glasses. Also, I'm not crazy with that camera shot. Could we bring it? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Isn't that much better? EdTyll, director in addition to everything else. All right, Dr. Frieda. If you want to know more about her, she's brilliant on the show. She's always on Fox with Neil Cavuto. She's been on Channel 11 for a long time, my favorite New York television station. She's very good at explaining things easy for you to follow her. You get a lot of doctors, PhDs, whatever they are, they come on the show. You know what the hell they're talking about. How would you know? You know what I mean? You can't check anything, and it's all jargon. And what are you going to do with all that? Nothing. She's she's a down-to-earth gal. Dr. Frieda, just like my Dr. Reddy, my dentist. Another one. Very, very down-to-earth. She was talking to me this morning, and she was saying, Edward, look at my teeth. I said, all day. Can I? Can I just move into the office? I will. I'll be your tooth inspector. If you want somebody to look after your beautiful smile, Dr. Reddy, I said, I am here. I will give up my radio career in a nanosecond. Oh, Edward, maybe you're not doing very well in radio if you would.
Hello.
Dr. Frida, thank you for being
Hi.
so patient. How are you today?
Thank you. I am very good. Thank you.
Good. So, you know what? Before we talk about anything, what kind of vacations do you take? Do you go far, far away? Do you go near? Do you go to the beach and put on your Dr. Frida bikini? Do you like to go mountain climbing and maybe put on, get a Sherpa and put on a parka and go up there with an alpaca?
You know, I'm going on a vacation as soon as I'm finished talking to you.
Well, that's why I'm asking
leaving.
this. That
Oh,
was
I didn't know you
right.
knew
Well, you
that.
told me
Oh, I
that,
wasn't
so I was
sure.
saying
Oh, I
first things
did.
first. What kind of vacations?
Okay.
What kind of vacations
So-
do you like?
Okay, well, today we're going to Club Getaway.
Ooh.
It's
Oh.
somewhere, I don't know where.
All right.
It's getting away. It's like a adult camping kind of
Oh,
deal.
look at you. Okay, so you're going to go in a tent? Are you a tent girl?
Well, it's a cabin.
A cabin.
a
So you're a
cabin.
cabin girl. All right, cabin girl.
I'm a
Much
cabin
better than a
girl.
tent,
I get
yes.
cabin fever, whatever.
Now,
So,
do you have a big list of supplies that you have to go shopping for? And now you have your little
No,
ditty.
because this is the good part about it. They do everything for you.
Oh,
The food, the activities,
nice.
everything's inclusive. So it's just a matter of going to the mountain somewhere and having, swimming in the lake and boating.
This is beautiful.
that.
You know, my dad
Yeah.
used to have a phrase about that bag that they pack for you. My dad used to say, do you have your ditty bag? Are you already got your ditty bag? You all straightened out with everything? So they'll pack you a nice bag. You'll get there. How long is a vacation for you? Do you go for a full week? Do you go for 2 weeks?
I don't go for long times right now because there's so much going on here in my life. So I go for a couple days at a time, but it feels like a week.
Good.
I can't really go away for longer than that because I feel as if I get a little bit. It takes me a while. Oh, I'm losing my voice. It takes me a little while to get into it when I'm there.
Right, you have to
Once I'm
shift.
there.
You got to downshift into the gear.
Yeah.
You got to hit the gear.
You know.
Yep.
Like I'm thinking, who cares? I mean, and then of course when I leave, I'm thinking, what else is there but vacation? So, but
Always.
I need the little mini ones. I just came back from another similar one, Woodlock Lake, which is also all inclusive.
Wow.
It's in the mountains.
Do
Yes,
you-
I like
when
that
you're-
better than the beach.
When you're on vacation, do you like to be active or do you like to be, very little activity? I'm recharging the batteries. What is kind of a style of vacation? Do you like to be busy? You like to have a little
Well, I
agenda?
never get little activities. Often I have radio shows that I had already from the past. I have changed this vacation date 3 times already.
Oh.
I was going to go last Monday. I was
Right.
going to go
Right.
tomorrow. Now I'm going today. I was going to go next week.
Okay.
So my life is. My assistant just ran out of here. She's glad she left.
Yeah,
because
right. She got
you
you
should
done.
see
She
the
got you
stack on
squared
my-
away. She got you squared away, and she's out. Right. She's like, look, you're all set.
She's
Here's
out of
everything
there.
you
She's
need.
out.
Here's your codes.
Yeah.
Here's your emails.
That's
Here's a
right.
little something with just a little thing just in case. I put a little something in there, and then text me if anything goes wrong. If everything goes good, you don't even have to
Right.
bother. Yeah. Oh, I love those
Yeah.
moments.
So she helps me with. The shows here and there. or
Now, when you
research
go,
if
I have
need
another
to do
question.
research.
This is about your personal preferences. What modes of transportation do you most enjoy en route to a vacation destination?
Well, it's not about enjoying. It's about what we have. We have Teslas.
It's not about enjoying.
It's about the way
This
we
is why I
go.
have you on the
I don't
show.
have that
I hope
choice. Are
everybody
you kidding me?
recorded
What
that.
kind of choice
It's
is
not
that?
about
Please.
enjoying. I love you.
Who has these choices in life?
Exactly.
Anyway,
but you're in,
getting there
you're in a
and-
Tesla, so that means what? The driver can
without
take a nap.
falling apart and being able to walk once I get out of the car. That's a good deal.
Does the
That's
driver?
as far as it goes.
Does the driver
It
take?
drives by itself.
That's it. The driver can-
it's automatic.
Can the driver
Yeah.
take a nap like they do on the news? Can the driver take a nap?
You could, but what happens sometimes, it's not a good deal because the car
funny.
sometimes jerks around and
Uh-oh.
something's around it. And
Oh, I don't like
and
that.
or if you take your hands off the wheel, forget it.
That's
Can't do that.
See, for me, I've always kept my hands on the wheel. That's going to be easy. But there are people who like to take a nap. I saw on the news the other day, 70 miles an hour, flying down the
Crazy.
expressway, and then they have on the video when he wakes up. You should see him when he wakes up. Then all of a sudden he grabs the wheel.
Refreshed.
Yeah, like no one. How long was I sleeping? No one's going to know I was. And when he was asleep, he had his arms folded. He looked like a little angel.
But,
you know, like,
but to your listeners, the car does do things that you would not be alerted to.
the car has
they'll
a little
see-
bit of a
yeah,
mind of its own.
yes.
A little bit of a mind of its own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If somebody starts swerving into your lane, the car swerves away.
Right.
Unexpected events, if a car in front of you stops quickly, there's a sound that comes on and the car stops.
Yeah,
So
your
things like
car is
that.
going to immediately start stopping whether you do or not, right?
Exactly. If the car is too close on the right or left, it also makes these noises and stops or swerves to the right or left the opposite way.
Right.
So it really does a lot that people, when they buy it, they're not even aware of it.
You never hear about
But
this,
it's
right?
convenient. You never hear about it. It's very quiet. That's
I was
one
going to say,
thing
they're
that's
so
not really,
quiet. They are so quiet. Do you know where I most enjoy riding in a Tesla? They're so quiet. I love to
Where?
I love to ride in the trunk.
in the trunk.
Yeah, I like to get in the
You
trunk.
mean-
Like when I was a kid, we used to go in the trunk and we used to sneak into the drive-in movie. So the other day,
But
we're
not
at
in the Tesla.
Well, there were no Teslas back then. So the other day, we're at
Right.
the Tesla showroom at the Florida Mall. And I said, do you mind if I climb in the trunk? And the guy says, go ahead. So I got in the trunk. And I said, you know something? Could you just turn the engine on? We'll go for a quick ride. The guy says, do you want me to take you for a test drive? I said, yeah, I'm
Is
going to
that
go
legal?
in the trunk. Well, he just took me around the parking lot. We didn't go anywhere far.
Oh, in the parking lot.
But I
Oh,
was
yeah,
in the
yeah.
trunk. He shut the trunk on me. Shut me. So I was like
crazy.
a
You are crazy.
I'm like a
I
kidnap
could not
victim.
even analyze you.
I'm like
Forget
a
it.
kidnap. I wanted to. It's a kidnap victim type of thing, but it's not really. It's very luxurious. If you ride in the trunk of a Tesla with the trunk shut and somebody's driving you around, it is so quiet and comfortable. You wouldn't believe it.
It's true, but not too many people think of doing that.
Would you ride in
But
my
that's
trunk?
another-
Say I wanted to show you how great it was. I'll rent the Tesla for the day, but you have to ride a part of the day in my trunk. Would you try that with me?
I'll think about it. One time years ago, I drove in the trunk because there was no room for me anywhere else. That's where they put me. That tells you something about everybody around here. And people were asking, "Oh, where did you get that extra seat that faces the other way?" Because in no way would they think that someone like me would be sitting in that trunk. But they don't know my life, so
That's it. What do they know
it's
about
all
us? They don't know us. If they knew
They don't
us,
know
they wouldn't.
anything.
They wouldn't even ask. That's the way I would say. Just
They're
don't even bother
clueless.
asking.
They have no idea.
I love you. And,
who
every
I
time you
really
come
am,
on the
what I'm really
show,
going through.
every time you visit with me, you bring another charming aspect of you into the mix in addition to our topics. So thank you for that segment. Today,
You're amazing. You're funny.
well, I am
You
a
are
stand-up
funny.
comedian. I try to make people laugh.
I can see that.
You pick up on
I
that
can
a little?
See that. You want to hear something really fun? One of the first shows I did years ago, radio show.
Mm.
The babysitter's coming in, and she's ringing the doorbell. The mother's texting me, "How dare I not open the door?" The dog's barking. The kids never even needed her. They were upstairs, and my older daughter is texting me to pick her up. All this, and at the end, he says to me, "You have such a calm, soothing voice."
Oh
When I-
my God, that's it. That's how you know you have
That
the
was-
gift, right? You're falling apart.
that
They're
was
coming at you,
funny.
and it comes off
That's
beautifully.
what happened. Yeah, inside nobody knows. But I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, okay, so now we've shared some personal time, and you have written to me more than once that it's important to you that when you come on, we bring some positivity in what we see going on. I am a
That's
little bit of
difficult.
me, I'm a little bit of an alarmist. When I see things right away, I'm going after it.
Yeah.
And I think that makes us it's a good marriage for a topic together. In other words, you are welcome now to bring forth the positivity. I will, I think, become more positive by listening to you.
I appreciate it, but you know what? Guess what? I listened to the news this morning, and I was so pulled in by Epstein and all the episodes that are going on that I was just glued to it. And I couldn't get away from this woman, this, what's her name, Ghislaine? I can't even pronounce it.
Yes, what a horrible pronunciation that woman's name has for the things that she's accused of. Ghislaine. I'm not even going to say more. But Ghislaine, is that a name for a girl who gets young girls to have sex with older men?
You know, and these women, these girls trusted her because she was a female. It's just amazing. Graduated from Oxford.
Can I be edgy? Can I be edgy with you? You're a brilliant woman. I'm going to be edgy.
Not really, but go ahead.
No, well, you know, you're very humble as well. You're very humble. But I'm going to say, with your experience, I have an edgy question. This is going to be very unpopular. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I'm a journalist. I'm going to ask. Okay. All right. I'm watching the little coterie of girls that were gathered up by the Ghislaine woman that we're discussing. And I would like to ask you in your professional capacity, okay? I thought I saw some teenagers manipulating the adults to get what they want, totally knowing I'm banging this old disgusting man. I'm going to get something out of this because this joint is full of money. So if I do the disgusting sex, maybe I'm getting $10,000 in wardrobe. Maybe I'm getting a rent-a-car. But I know this joint is loaded. He's always looking for girls hot like me, young, sexualized, not afraid of men, doing stuff with my boyfriend long before I got over here. How is that impossible? Am I wrong to think that can be in the mix also? I know what's going on. They're breaking the law with me. They're raping me. But you know why I'm doing it? Because this place is loaded with cash, and I'm going to get me some.
Listen, I have to tell you, absolutely not. You're not wrong. It happens all the time. Young girls, women prostitute themselves all over the place. You know, the casting couch has been known for it forever, and often they know what they're getting into. It's sad that at 14, when you're a child, this is a whole different story. But in reality, these girls were told, you know, these guys have money. You'll do well by them. You can be their girlfriend, and they bought into it.
You got it.
So who knows how many of them, because they have so much, are claiming rape and sexual assault when they themselves supported it. You're 100% right.
Although,
are we going to find out the truth?
Well, I just want to add, I want to augment that last phrase and add, I don't see it as negating that they were raped. They were raped. You can't have consent off a teenager legally. You just can't. She's not old enough to consent. So both can be true. I know you're raping me, but I can handle if rape means some disgusting older guy is going to fawn all over me, and all I have to do is have pleasant intercourse and get out of the room. Absolutely, some kids are going to make that deal. Doesn't mean they're old enough. Doesn't mean they're not being abused. They're going to have issues, but to deny that, as the media would never explore that, I think needs to be understood. In other words, I'm not trying to bust anybody, but let's be honest and truthful about how such a calamity could happen. How could his network of girls get so big? How could it be so many times? How could it be so many rich people? Now you got Prince Andrew caught over there. He's going to have to testify.
What about Clinton? Also, they said something about him. I mean, about across the board, unethical events of his death, where he was supposed to be suicidal a few weeks before that, and then they weren't watching him. Why not on purpose? There's so much going on that has to be discovered. But when you're talking about these girls, you know, I had my nails done a couple of days ago, and this girl's telling me she has a child, and she was married at 15. Some ethnic backgrounds, they get married when they're still kids. So it does change the way we look at our own sexuality and our age. But absolutely, these girls were coerced into it. They were manipulated. They weren't told the truth. And as you're saying, a lot of them knew what they were getting into as well.
Yeah.
You know, Victoria models that were trying to become Victoria models, dancers, whatever they were part of this, knowing or not knowing. But even the ones that didn't know when people try to present themselves by selling what they have, by giving money for that product, it's been around forever. The problem here is that it was underage. Was it you need consent? Different cultures have people that women that get married at the age of 14. Believe it or not, it sounds ridiculous.
No, you know what?
I'm not saying.
You know what? The public does know this. There's a lot of that old world. And, you know, also in these cultures, you know this, but I'm just saying it so that people will take a look on their own. A lot of these cultures this is where the arranged marriage comes. They don't let them bed down together. They just say, you know, right now you're 14, you think she's cute, you guys know each other, families know each other. So when 17 comes, whatever the age is, you two are for each other. And that was many, many years a civilized and safe way to protect your daughter from getting, grabbed up by some hoodlum heathen who happens to have a sword and a horse. You know, they would try to do something. So I get old school. I'm so glad you brought that up. There is a early introduction to the sexual role of that woman in other cultures. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Now, I don't want to get misconstrued. You two, I'm going to keep us in the clear.
Yeah.
We detest and would do anything to protect people from a Harvey Weinstein. There's no way to articulate this. Anything like that is awful. Whatever turns out to be proved, the whole environment's terrible. We get that. But you also have to understand that these women, they're being portrayed on TV like they're captured in the wild and there's a chain around their neck, and it doesn't look like that.
No, that didn't happen, though.
No.
It didn't happen. They were told that these men are rich, they have money, and if they go ahead and they could be their masseurs, they could be their girlfriends, they not necessarily knew that they were going to have sex with them. But, when
you know
you're
what? Yeah,
even,
maybe not the first time, but you're with a bunch of adults. They're all drinking booze. There's a bedroom nearby, and an older guy walks you into the bedroom. If you don't think that's for intercourse, that's a very slow teenager.
They did it slowly, though. They did do it slowly.
Yeah.
There was one girl that they took her. She came over to Epstein's apartment or room, wherever he was, 8 times. He gave her $300 each time she came. And then after that, she already knew where it was going. So it was almost as if it was a dating situation, and eventually it kept building up and building up. And then it was often sexually forced sex or not forced sex. So which girl did it forced, which girl didn't do it forced? How do we know who's saying what? It's just all over the place. It's a real mess. There's a lot of truth to what you're saying. There's a lot of truth to the other situation. But when we look at 14-year-olds, how much do they really know what they're getting into? But they have been taught by society as well that men are the ones that can give you what you need. And till women go ahead and look to themselves and don't look to men, and I'm dependent, now I sound like a feminist, but it's sad, but it's true. We need to be able to educate our daughters so they can feel equal and not to have to look for men for favors and vice versa. They wouldn't get into these predicaments.
Absolutely true. And you and I have touched on this before. Maybe just wrap up on this because this was an interesting topic, and I'm happy to talk about this anytime. I think it's very sad. But the hyper-sexualization of the last 20 years, very over the top, very dressing above your age. You look at high school kids, juniors and seniors, and you're like, it's one thing to be cute, pop star. Then you look too much like your mom. This is looking too adultish. It doesn't look youthful and Taylor Swifty. It looks all creepy, infidelity style. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. What you put out, you get back. That's what it's all about.
All right. Well, listen.
You have to know the message. Yesterday we played that out already, so we'll go to the next topic. I just want to tell you that this person she was his madam. I don't know what she did. She was his ex-girlfriend. Her father also killed himself. And he also did things that were underhanded and stole money from his employees. So, again, it's what you see at home. you marry your father, they say, and she married. She was involved with the same kind of situation.
So yeah, so she had a she had a self-destructive model, right?
Yes, she did.
Right. So
she identified with that.
So the theory would go that she sees him devalue his life, and it's hard for her to put a high value on her life as the daughter of the suicide.
Yeah, the daughter also, she was very well educated, very bright, but she also looked to see how she could get things in an underhanded way, just like her father did.
Right.
And so she identified with that. That's true.
All right, let me
she has her own history.
Let me give you a
So
couple
we'll move on.
let me give you a couple of quickies on that, just on what you said. Number one, Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, is on TV the other night talking about running for president. Right. 15 minutes about his father's suicide. 15 minutes on this, and he's talking about it, and they're asking, and he's answering, and then they're asking more. And I get it. He's using this to flesh out to people who he is. I had no idea that this is who he is, that he's the a super tall guy, the angry. He's saying all this to a political audience. I was angry all of my early life because my father killed it.
That's wonderful.
I mean, is it, or was it an exploit? I felt so manipulated. Like, what is with this pity party now? You're a grown-up. Now you're going to start crying to me about your father killed himself? I don't believe you at all. I believe you made this now. All of a sudden it's a big thing because you want to get noticed to be president. I was turned off. I felt it was less than honest, yet it was the volume. He had no hesitation. Let me tell you more. My father this, my father that. World War. I was like, what is this guy still, it sounds like he's 11 and he needs a therapist. He's not a grown-up.
Probably does. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure he needs somebody, but the truth is he's not going to become president. And the facts are, he was just in the news this morning about not giving programs to gifted children. So that's stifling kids that can be successful and move on and not to be bored in class. So his philosophy, everything he's saying doesn't make sense anyway.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to ask you, is it normal to talk about something at work that happened to you as a kid and to draw parallels to how good a job you're doing with your boss? I'm glad we're having this review today, sir. Da-da-da-da. Yes, didn't I hear something tragic about, let me tell you, my dad killed himself, and I just want to let you know I'm doing. He'd be like, no offense, but this is inappropriate.
Do you want a man like that to run our country, to protect us, if he can't even get over his stuff?
Well, he was trying to say he's durable because he's been through the fire. I believe He's not over the fire because he's still talking about it. When you are a victim, you're treated like a victim. Nobody can really help you. That's what I thought. You know why? I'm so glad you said it because that's exactly how I felt. I said, if he was confronted with it and was candid, I don't like to talk about it too much, but it was a tough time for me. My dad took. Then I would be, oh my God, what a guy! But the fact that he made it into like a platform speech, I was very uncomfortable. That was.
That's very sad.
Yep. So that was the first one, based on what you said. That I thought of. Then the other one is all these New York City police officers taking their own life. It must jump out at you. With 9 New York City cops this year, we're in month 8. 9 cops have killed themselves this year. What's your thought on that?
Well, research has shown that cops have one of the highest suicide rates. They see a lot. They see a lot of domestic violence. They have to put up with hours that are difficult in their relationships as well. And now, of course, what's going on, that they're not supported for the job they're doing. And sometimes it's true that they shouldn't be supported. But look what's going on with Eric Garner. This guy, the police, I don't even know his name, the cop, he was fired. And the family saying, that people are saying, oh, this poor guy, he doesn't have any life insurance. What about Garner's family? They don't have him, and he should be put in prison, anything.
I know, but Garner was the criminal. How are we worried about a guy who's effing off the police? I'm not going to worry about him. That officer
But you have to kill everybody if they're criminals?
Well, I don't
you
think.
have to kill people.
I don't think.
You have to stop. You have to stop.
Honestly, I don't think the cop
we don't,
killed.
we don't agree on this.
I know, but I don't think the
You don't-
cop
you
killed.
said that last time.
Right. I don't think the cop killed him. He killed himself.
Well, wait a minute. If somebody said why did he kill
Well, he didn't
himself?
obey. He didn't obey a lawful order. You don't have a. You don't have a right.
If somebody doesn't obey,
You don't have a right
it's
to refuse.
not
I don't think you have a
necessary.
right. Yeah, I
Somebody's
don't.
running out of a grocery store with a bag of food in his hand. You don't kill him.
If you're breaking the law in plain view, I don't think you have the right to resist the police. That's my opinion. If you're breaking the law,
I don't think the police has a right to kill you unnecessarily.
well, they have the right.
You know,
they do have the
guns
right.
are not for kids.
They do have the right to force you in, though. They have the absolute right when you say no.
But if someone says I'm choking, I can't breathe, would you think anyone,
well, that's
a 4-year-old would say, hey, wait a minute.
Well, that's the whole point. That's the thing. Why am I on the ground with you? You're making me. That Eric Garner fella dragged that officer to the ground. What would happen if somebody dragged you to the ground right now today? You walk out of the building, somebody drags you to the ground.
I don't have that kind of strength to carry stuff.
It doesn't matter. What if you were the victim? What if somebody dragged you? What if you found yourself dragged? You didn't do anything. You were minding your own business, walking to the car, and they hit you, drag you under. What? You know what I mean? What? Are you a victim? You're a victim. So the police officer's the victim. Eric Garner is not a victim of anything. He's a victim of nothing. He was a bad, bad man who got what he deserved. That's it. That's what you. If you
when you're black and you're male.
Doesn't give you the right to. You're not allowed to. I'm going to say you're not allowed to curse at the police when you're black or white. I don't think any black person in America is okay to say any curses ever to the police, and I will stand by that. And any white person,
if you feel victimized by society,
if you're a white guy and you tell the police,
another point of view.
If you tell an officer to F off, and you're white, you are going in. You are not going home. You tell him F word ever, white man. You could be as white
white
as a
man.
You ever say F? If you ever say F, if you ever say,
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just giving you their perspective.
If a white man says,
I'm not saying you're wrong, but their perspective is a white man does not feel the same way as a black man.
You know, that's not my problem.
They don't feel victimized.
That's not me. That's not my job. My job is not supposed to know what they feel. I have no responsibility to know what other people feel. Zero. If they can't manage what they feel, what they know, what the reality is, this is a pet peeve with me because I love cops. And I feel like the inner city has been anti-cop most of my life. I feel like every ghetto in America is anti-cop. I've never seen a ghetto that likes the cops. I've been in every ghetto.
Why should they?
What do you mean, why should they? Because they live in the goddamn... Oh, here we go. Watch your language. Because they live in a country with law.
You can say anything you want.
Not really, because we're going on some AM, FM stations. I don't want them to get scared.
Oh,
but here's the point. Thank you.
You should have big stations.
But
more people should know of you. Millions. They're missing out on hearing you. You're so politically savvy. You're so fast. You're funny. You have the whole package, and really it should be national and with many, many more viewers. Absolutely.
Bless you.
I wouldn't be wasting my time with you.
Why would you spend? If I was a loser and there wasn't anything interesting, why would you hang
I would be
around?
on vacation right now.
I wouldn't hang around with this guy. Come on. But it is interesting.
I'd be hiking in the mountains.
There you go. Exactly. And I would love to clear the mountains for you. You can have a good time out there. You got it. All right, you know, I love you, but I do have to go because